Hey everybody, this is Christy Furio with Keys to the Shop. Welcome to another edition of Shift Break. Super glad to have you along today. Today's episode is brought to you by the revolutionary ground control Cyclops brewer from Voga Coffee. This is an opportunity for you to really elevate your to-go program. As we are relying on to-go more than ever, you're going to want to make sure that your batch brew is not only up to par, but above expectation. Quality really matters. It's always mattered, but now more than ever, the customer experience depends on the quality of things like your batch brew coffee. And the ground control brewer from Voga Coffee is one of these pieces of equipment that actually changes the game in the coffee industry. The SCA award-winning technology allows you to extract things from your coffee that you just don't think possible. And having tasted coffee from this machine and what it's capable of, I can vouch for this. It is truly something special. You can create beautifully crafted coffee, cold brew, tea, cocoa, concentrates, all from a single machine. So it's amazing versatility, allowing you to go as small as single serving to large batch sizes, and to do so consistently. And that's key. So this, again, is something that I think you should look into for your cafe, especially when quality matters more than ever. You're going to want to look into the ground control brewer from Voga Coffee. To find out more information about getting the ground control brewer in your shop, go to vogacoffee.com. That's VOGA coffee.com. This episode of Shift Break is also brought to you by Barista. Now, Barista grinders are basically a household name at this point in specialty coffee because they have really worked at developing a reputation for being one of the most innovative manufacturers of grinders, and also the most responsive to their customers' needs, whether that's commercial users or home users. Barista designs precision burr grinders that have a small footprint that are perfect for both home or commercial environments. And personally, I love using mine. I've always used Barista ever since I got into specialty coffee. I just took mine apart and cleaned it the other day. Super easy to do. They build these grinders in such a way that it makes it easy for you to maintain them and to make amazing coffee. And especially now as customers are starting to brew more coffee at home, and we all are as well, Barista is a great company to partner with in helping equip you and your customers with great equipment that's going to set them up for success, no matter what brewing method they're using. There's a Barista grinder that fits any way you want to brew your coffee. Amazing people, amazing service too, that really matters. All of that said, you can't really go wrong. I would really encourage you, if you're not working with Barista, you really should be. Go to their website, barista.com. It's one of the best decisions that you can make. Again, find out more information over at barista.com. Okay, everyone. So today I wanted to talk about a few things that I think are going to be really key to your success in welcoming people back to your shop. And I really mean welcome, like the hospitality that we want to embody as specialty coffee shops. We're tuning into this desire that customers have to just walk back into a store. Customers are telling me, I'm working about 15 hours a week still on bar, which I'm blessed to do. Over at Quills, and customers are telling me we just can't wait until the patio is open so we can sit down and drink a coffee. It's just in the air. There's this electric feel, open the doors. We want to get back in there. Now, not everyone's going to feel that way, but I think more often than not, there's this vibe out there. Whether we're going to allow ourselves that luxury right away is irrelevant. The fact is that I think people miss it and we miss them. And so we want to show that in how we show up for them when they show up for us, right? So, of course, we're talking about preparing our staff. We want to make sure that hospitality is something that we're focused on. That means being in tune with how customers are going to feel and what we're doing as staff to help each other, as there's this emotional stress on us as well. So there's those two groups, the customers and the staff, whose needs need to be considered by management. And together we can really create a reality around how we show hospitality that's going to take into account those needs and make realistic expectations instead of just ignoring the fact that, everyone's still really stressed out about this stuff. So that goes without saying, or maybe it doesn't, and you need to hear that. But there are a few episodes, maybe a link in the show notes, like the one we just did on emotional intelligence with Andrea Hoban, But there are three things that I think when we want to show up for customers that I think are going to really help you. The first thing is going to be cleanliness. Your store may have been dormant for the last few months, and it's amazing the kind of cleanliness that you see is accomplished on a day-to-day basis when you've got teams of people filling out checklists of side jobs, side tasks, deep clean lists, and things like that. When those things aren't done, dust accumulates. We get out of the habit. The muscle memory is a little bit sluggish. So it's time to kind of, I guess, pun intended, but dust off the dust and make sure that our shops are cleaner than they ever have been before. That is so serious. And people are going to be looking for that. They want to be in a clean environment. This is the way they've been conditioned right now. And honestly, it's become habit. At this point, what does the science say? 90 days or last 60 days, if something becomes habit. The mind has been somewhat altered, maybe permanently, to be a little bit more conscientious about cleanliness. That means that we have to be as well. So get cleaning, and update your checklist to update your expectations for cleanliness from the staff. That's going to be huge. So that's the first thing. The second thing I would say is clarity. One of the things that really helps with clarity, in my opinion, the first step that you can do at this point is a fact sheet, an FAQ, right? Frequently asked questions. We see these types of things on websites because, as the name suggests, you frequently get questions from people wondering about discounts, wondering about shipping, wondering about this and that. And so in order to save yourself the trouble from having to respond to every single person and maybe even contradict yourself if you've got multiple people managing a website, you just create a fact sheet so people can read the answers for themselves. Now, I don't really see a fact sheet that often internally, but I think it's a good idea. What are customers' concerns going to be? And in fact, you might not even call it a fact sheet. Maybe you can call it a fact sheet, but also expected questions sheet. So there are things that people are going to ask about, and then there are things that people have been asking about. Your staff are on the front lines. They need to know what the official answer is to that and what kind of freedom they have to answer those questions. A fact sheet from management about those things is going to be really key to gaining clarity and some certainty in uncertain times. So in order to create that, you're going to need to ask your staff, what are the questions that people are asking? What kind of things would you need clarification on? If we're going to be getting busier and busier, what kind of things make you stressed out that you're unclear about, that you need clarity on? And then provide that in one document as a plan to move forward. Now, a lot of the things in a fact sheet are going to overlap with policy documents that you might already have. But if there's clarity needed from staff on certain things and they need a quick go-to manual, this is an of-the-moment document. And so you can say, okay, reference this policy, but in the moment, we need to just be able to look at something and know and refresh our memory with sort of a game plan. Create this document, however long it needs to be, as the go-to game plan for right now. Frequently asked questions, expected questions, what to do, what to say, just how to do things in this moment. That's really critical. So producing that kind of document to provide clarity when things aren't so clear is going to be huge. Now, the third thing that I would say here after cleanliness and clarity is creativity. So creativity for me is huge because when I enter back into a store, yes, I am going to have just a feeling of gratefulness that I'm back in the place where there are these familiar beverages, the cappuccinos, the lattes, even your signature that you have at your store. And it's like for us at Quill's, the salted bourbon caramel latte. That's huge. But on top of that, I would encourage you to create new things that they've never seen before on the menu to welcome them back to something exciting, something fresh, a new look, a new taste. Use this time to workshop ideas for signature beverages, new takes on familiar beverages. Lots of different ways to go about that. Earlier this week, we talked with Matt Bushman of Alto Cold Brew about cold brew being used in lots of different like mocktails and cold brew flights. So get creative. Offer people something they've never seen before, and you're going to enhance that feeling of being glad that they're back in your space times 100. So with all that said, I think it's really critical for you to step it up, get creative, get some different beverages on the menu, maybe some different food items that people haven't seen before, and make sure that you've got everything in place to be able to execute this stuff well. You don't want to offer something creative and fun and new and have people really love it and then not be prepared to make it en masse. Okay, so caveat there. The systems and operations have to be in place for these things in order for you to succeed. We've talked about that on the show lots of times. So it's not just enough to have a good idea. It's got to have a system and structure behind it that's in a realistic one, thought through well, so that people are facilitated for success in execution of these ideas. So on the creativity part, I really do see that as the future of coffee bars in general. Like, a lot of us have been for years looking to far-flung destinations for inspiration. Nothing wrong with that necessarily, but maybe not paying attention enough to our own communities and, being creative within our own space and worrying too much about what our peers think about our Instagram account and things like that. So the future to me looks like being more consistent with yourself, being consistently in tune with your customers, and giving yourself permission to be unique and creative and true to yourself as a brand, as an entrepreneur. Those are going to be really critical. And honestly, when you're unique and you offer things that are confidently you, that makes it all the more attractive to your customers. And you win a lot more points for being creative and consistent and confident. And so I would tap into that as well. So 3 things: cleanliness, clarity, and creativity. If you invest into those things, build into your culture and structure and operations those as priorities, along with other things that you're working on right now, I think you're really going to knock it out of the park when it comes to welcoming people back into your space. So I hope that this was a helpful episode for you. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you all. Have a great day, and I will see you here next week on another edition of Shift Break, from keys to the shop.